Now we're going to talk about legal land descriptions. Now, my office is located in Chicago. The address of my office is 7300 Northwestern in Chicago. Um, that's fine for my agents to get into my office. That's fine for the post office to deliver mail there. But it's not okay for any type of legal document. A legal document, you need an accurate legal description, which I'm going to give you a couple examples. Uh, Patricia has a question. The report comes from the seller. The seller has provided a report. Okay. All right. So methods of describing real estate. Let me scroll down a little bit. There are three basic methods that's used in the United States. The number one is called the meets and bounds description. The other is called a rectangular government survey system, and the third one is called the lot and block or recorded plat map system. Well, since the state of Illinois uses all three of them, you have to be familiar with all three of them as well. Now, two paragraphs down where it says meets and bounds, highlight, put an X by that one. Meets and bounds were used when the colonies were first created here, and it describes a property by its perimeter, as if you're going to put a fence around the property. Now, the meets and bounds is one of the oldest type of legal description that there is, and it uses a meet happens to be a distance from one point to another. Then we have bounds, which are referenced by monuments. Monument could be either natural or artificial. A natural monument, highlight put X by that next paragraph, monument. A natural monument will be the big oak tree, the tree stump, the river, the big rock. Artificial is anything placed by man, a house, a fence, a garage. The most important thing, you must always start and end at what's called the POB, the point of beginning. So, let me give you an example of a meets and bounds description, okay? I'm going to write out a meets and bounds description. You should see something similar to this. So, starting at my front door, go 90 degrees east. For 1,000 feet until you reach the big oak tree. Thence go 90 degrees south for 600 feet until you reach the river. Thence go 90 degrees west for 450 feet until you reach my storage shed. Thence go 45 degrees northwest for 750 feet until you reach my front door. This is one of the legal description. This is called a meets and bounds description. Now, a couple things you need to know about meets and bounds. First of all, you have to know your compass directions. So your north, south, west, and east. That's what you need. But also you need to know that in a circle, in a full circle, there are 360 degrees in a circle. In a degree, there are 60 minutes, and in a minute, there are 60 seconds. Using this method of describing real estate, you could get very, very accurate within fractions of an inch. So a full circle is 360 degrees. If you went straight down, that's 180 degrees. A right angle is 90 degrees. In between that will be 45 degrees. So what they do, now not all of you, but some of you, but you're going to get questions on meets and bounds, and I'm going to tell you what they are. But they're going to give you, some of you will see something like this. And it's they're going to give you 4 shapes of a lot, and they're going to ask you to describe that. What does that property look like? So starting at my front door. So here's my house. Starting at my front door, I'm facing my house. I go 90 degrees east. Due east is this way for 1,000 feet till I reach the big oak tree. Now I'm facing the tree. My next step says I need to now go 90 degrees south for 600 feet till I get to the river. Now I'm facing the river. My next step, I need to go 450 feet, 90 degrees west for 450 feet till I get to my little storage shed, which is right here. And then my last step says, at this point, I need to go 45 degrees on an angle northwest back to my front door. I'm sorry, I missed it, overshot it. That's the shape of that lot. That's what it looks like. Now, a meet, this is a meet. A meet is a distance from one point to another. See this I'm filling in over here? That's a meet. From one distance to another is a meet. A bound is a change in direction, which is referenced by monuments. Monuments could be natural, the tree stump, the tree, the rock, the river, or artificial, anything placed by man. This is my storage shed. That's artificial. Now, the most important thing you need to know, you must always start and end at the same identifiable point, which is called the POB. Stands for point of beginning. Now, it doesn't matter if you go, let me finish writing this up. Doesn't matter if you go clockwise, like if you're going clockwise this way, or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. But whichever way you start, you got to continue to get right back here to the point of beginning. So sometimes, occasionally, they call it the POC. stands for point of commencement. Either one is correct. They both mean the same. Main thing I want you to know, a meet is a commencement. Again, a meet is a distance, a bound is change in direction. Those are the main things that you need to know. Now, get back to my textbook. Now we have what's called a rectangular government survey system. Highlight, put an X by that one. Now, what happened when the United States doubled its size back in the early 1800s with the Louisiana Purchase? They doubled the size of the United States. It went from all the way from Louisiana to the Canada, more than double the size. And telling people you go to the big rock or the tree stump or something was not good enough. So this system was created by Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, before he became president, was a land surveyor. In fact, 3 out of the 4 faces on Mount Rushmore were land surveyors before he became president. Now, this is it's a really, really good system, this rectangular government system. And right now it's used in 30 states, starting from the Midwest, going west. And actually, when you hit the Pacific coast in California, it goes underneath the ocean, pops back up on the island of Hawaii, the system. Now, they go over these bullets right here. There's 2 sets of intersecting lines. The first bullet, you got highlight, put X by. We have a principal meridian that runs north and south, and then we have baselines that run east and west. And these are reference to what we call latitude and longitude lines, which are imaginary lines drawn throughout our planet. So, one second. Okay. Let's go with this one. See if this works. Now, principal meridians run north and south. It's a line that runs north and south. We have baselines that run east and west. And these are reference to what I said, latitude and longitude lines. Now, these are your main lines. What you need to know, Illinois uses the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th principal meridians to describe property. So let me get back to my textbook where it's at. Scroll down a little bit. I like you to highlight, put X by the 2nd principal meridian, 3rd principal meridian, 4th principal meridian. Illinois uses the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th principal meridians to describe property. Only one of those 3. Now I got a map. Let me show you this map, and if you want, you can take a screenshot of it. Oops. Trying to raise this thing up. There we go. I went too high. Okay. Now I want you to notice something. The 2nd principal meridian actually goes right down the center of the state of Indiana, right here. Let me see if I can get an arrow to point that out. Yeah. So the 2nd principal meridian is right where this arrow is. It covers the entire state of Indiana, but there's a small portion of Illinois along the Illinois-Indiana border. Now I gotta get rid of this thing because I gotta get rid of my picture. Nope, didn't do it yet. Hold on a second. Let me get rid of this arrow. See if that did it. Nope. Give me 1 second. I'm having trouble getting rid of my arrows. In a little bit of trouble here. I got an arrow that I started to point out something. Now I can't get rid of it. That's not good. Okay. Now, okay, you see the second principal meridian goes right down the center of Indiana. There's only, click on the arrow at the top. I did that, thank you. There's a small portion of Illinois, it's just south of Kankakee. It's only covered by the second principal meridian. Most of the state of Illinois is covered by the third principal meridian, which runs from Cairo on the south to just past Rockford on the north. It's the white part of the map. And then on the fourth principal meridian starts in a little town. It's called Beardstown. Primarily, it runs between the Mississippi and the Illinois River. So you need to know that Illinois uses the second, third, or fourth principal meridian, one of those three, to describe property here in Illinois. So let me get back to my, well, before I get there, let me ask you a question. Here's some of the questions that you might see. One question is, which principal meridians do we use here in Illinois? I'll give you multiple choice. Do we use the first, second, third, second, third, and fourth, the third, fourth, and fifth? The answer is we use the second, third, or fourth principal meridian to describe property. Now, also what you will get is a question like this. Which principal meridian, looking on this map over here, which principal meridian covers the northwestern part of Illinois? Is it the second, is it the third, or is it the fourth? Which covers the northwestern part of Illinois? Very good. It is the fourth. It's the fourth. And here's the northwestern part of Illinois between the Illinois-Mississippi River. It's covered by the fourth principal meridian. Now, with northwestern part of Illinois. Which principal meridian, here's another question for you. Which principal meridian do we use in Illinois, but it's not located in Illinois? Someone said the fifth. No, it's the second. I mean, that's probably a typo. The second principal meridian. It's located in Indiana, and there's a little portion of Illinois that we use. Okay, so those are the kind of questions that you will see. Okay, now let me get back to my textbook. Let's go on to the next page. Township tiers. Highlight, put an X by that. Parallel to the baseline, every 6 miles, there's a strip of land called a township tier. So, parallel to the baseline, every 6 miles, there's a strip of land called a township tier. Okay, now I got it. Parallel to the baseline, every 6 miles, there's a strip of land called a township tier. A tier happens to be 6 miles wide. These are all 6 miles wide. So the 6 mile strip of land going east and west is called a tier, 6 miles wide. Now let's go back to our textbook. Scroll down a little bit. Township ranges. Parallel to the principal meridian, every 6 miles, there's a strip of land called a range. Let me show you that one. So parallel to the principal meridian, every 6 miles, there's a strip of land called a range. Your primary lines are your principal meridians and your baseline. Sorry, can't draw real straight, not using, like it says, I'm not looking at my pad. I'm looking at the screen and drawing with another hand, trying to do the best I can. Keep them as straight as possible. Oh boy, and they're not. I haven't had any wine today. I'm just drawing crazy. I wish I had, there's a ruler on here. I just don't know how to use it. Maybe I'll work on it this weekend. So this strip of land going north and south is called a range. Okay, now back to the textbook. I want to talk about a township. Now, let me scroll down where it says a township square. Highlight, put an X by that one. When a 6 mile wide range intersects with the 6 mile wide tier, it forms a 6 mile by 6 mile area called a township. Let me show that to you. When a 6 mile wide range over here intersects with the 6 mile wide tier, they form a 6 mile by 6 mile area called a township. A township is 6 miles by 6 miles. Every single one of these squares that intersect with the range and a tier is a township. Every single one of these is a township. It's 6 miles by 6 miles, contain 36 square miles. Every single township in this country that they use this system is contiguous or touches 8 other townships. See this township right here? It touches 8 other townships. It touches this one up on top, the township above, touches this one in the corner, that's 2. The one on the side is 3. This corner is 4. The bottom is 5. This corner is 6. The side is 7. And the corner here is 8. So every township is contiguous or touches 8 other townships. Now, every single township is 6 miles by 6 miles, and there are 36, let me draw it up here, 36 1 mile by 1 mile areas called sections. There are 36 of them. So every township is 6 miles by 6 miles, contains 36 1 mile by 1 mile area called sections. A section is 1 mile by 1 mile, contains 640 acres. That you need to know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this township right here and I'm going to make it bigger so you can follow me on this. So this is the township. I'm taking it 6 miles by 6 miles. There are 36 1 mile by 1 mile areas called sections. A section is 1 mile by 1 mile. So let me clean this up a little bit. This is a township. the 6 mile wide range intersecting with the 6 mile wide tier forms a 6 mile by 6 mile area called a township. There are 36 1 mile by 1 mile areas called sections. A section is 1 mile by 1 mile, contains 640 acres. Every single section has a number assigned to it. Now, I'm going to, something that some of you will see. So I'm going to draw my compass points on this. Every section here that's 1 mile by 1 mile has a number assigned to it. Number 1 is always in the northeast corner, and number 36 will be in the southeast corner. So this is how the numbering system works. I start counting from number 1 going west. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I get to 6, I drop. Let's keep counting. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then I drop again. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I drop again. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, drop again, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, till I get to number 36. Now, again, each one of these number sections here is 1 mile by 1 mile, contains 640 acres. The numbering system, I want you to pay attention to the screen here. Number 1 is always in the northeast corner, right here. The numbering system is a snake-like serpentine numbering system. When you count, do not take your pen off the paper. Do not break the snake, not till you get to number 36. Now, get back to my map here. Oops. You see, here's a numbering system. I have it up here. Now, let me give you a couple of examples that some of you will get. What section number is north of section number 10? Why don't you type that in? What section number is north of section number 10? Yeah, what's north of section number 10 is what I said. Section 3, very good. All of you got that. Now, let me clear that up. Let me give you another question. I got a couple more questions for you. What section number is west of section number 27? What section number is west of section number 27? I'm only asking for one section number, not all of them. What section number is due west of section number 27? The answer is 28. 28. Here's one more question I'd like to ask you. Let me clear this out. What section number, let me go back to my section here. What section number is east of section number 13? What section number is east of section number 13? What section number is east of section number 13? So we're kind of split on this one. A couple of you got it right. The number is 18. What's east of section number 13 is 18. Let me show it to you. Let me clear this out. Let me show it to you. Let me go back to my chalkboard. This is section here. This is section number. Let me change my pen. Here's section number 13. My question: what is east of section number 13? There's another township. Every township is contiguous on 8 other townships. So I start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I drop 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Drop again 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. Okay. That's occasionally some of you are going to see that. Now, let me get back to my textbook. Well, okay. Let's see, do I have time? Yes, I do. I have a problem I'm going to give you right now. I'm going to give you a legal description right now. Now, you should see something. Actually, you got a couple of these. Yes, what will be north of section 4 will be 35. Absolutely correct. Now, here's a problem. You got about 3 of these in the back of this chapter. You got a couple of these on the master exam, and you will have this problem on a state exam. Don't worry, I'll cover this for you. Here's a legal description. The north half of the south half of the northwest 1/4 of the southwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4 of section 22 sold for $3 per square foot. The commission was 7%. Question is, how much did the sponsoring broker earn? Now, first of all, I have to figure out how many acres this parcel of land is. So how I'm going to figure this out is by process of elimination. So what I want is section 22. I'm going to draw this out. Not that you need to draw this out, but you get an idea. The visual kind of helps you a little bit. So the first thing I need is section 22. Now, if I go back to my township over here, you see section 22 is right here. I'm boxing it up in blue. Section 22 is 1 mile by 1 mile. Okay. So here's section 22. It's 1 mile by 1 mile. And it contains 640 acres. A 1 mile by 1 mile section contains 640 acres. So I got section 22 done. That's it right there. Now, what I want of section number 22, because you always start with the section number and you work your way backwards. I want the northeast quarter of section 22. So what I need to do is, since I want a quarter of it, I need to quarter this. So I quarter this, and as soon as I quarter it, I draw my compass points: north, south, west, and east. And what I want is the northeast quarter, which is this one right here, which means I don't want this. So I'm going to locate this property. See what I did with the township over here. What I wanted was section 22 only, which means I did not want any of these other sections over here. I just want section 22, which is what I drew out down here. So, which is 1 mile by 1 mile, which I did. Then out of that section, I wanted the northeast quarter, which is this right here. I'm drawing it out, okay. Which that part's done. So what's left over, because all the X's are gone, all the other sections are gone. What's left over here? I want the southwest quarter of this. So I need to quarter this again. Draw my compass points. And what I want now is the southwest quarter, which is this one here, which means I don't want this. So I got that part done. Now see what's left over here. What I want is the northwest quarter of this. So I need to quarter this again. Always draw my compass points. And what I want is the northwest quarter, which is this one here. I don't want this. I'm left with this part right here. Now, that's done. What's left over here? I want the south half of this. So I split this in half. There's a south half, there's a north half. I don't want the north, I only want the south. That part's done. See what I got left over? My next step, I want the north half of what's left over. So I have to split this in half again. I have a south half, I have a north half. I want the north, I don't want the south. Now I'm done with my legal description. I'm going to fill this in, and this is the shape of that parcel of land. Not that you need to draw this, but having a visual does help. Now, this piece of property sold for $3 per square foot. What I first need to do is figure out how many acres this parcel of land contains. So let me erase my check marks. I don't want to erase my numbers. So first of all, I have to figure out how many acres this parcel of land is. Now, one section equals, every section equals the same amount. They equal 640 acres. What I did then is I took a quarter of that. 4 divided into 640 equals 160 acres. 4 divided into 160, that's going to equal 40 acres. And I take a fourth of that. So 4 divided into 40 equals 10 acres. And then half of that, 2 divided into 10 equals 5. 2 divided into 5 equals 2.5 acres. This parcel of land contains 2.5 acres. You got to understand, right? Some of you got this already. You always start off with 640, and you have to divide by either 4 or 2. That's all you have to do. Now, someone asked me, does the numbering always start in the upper right-hand corner? Numbering always starts off at the northeast corner, upper right-hand. The last number, 36, winds up on the southeast quarter, on the bottom right. So upper right is where it starts, bottom right is where it ends. Now, and then it goes westerly, that is correct. So this parcel of land contains 640 acres. You always start off with 640 divided by 4 or 2. Now, when I give you a problem, you have to figure out how many acres before we go any further. Anybody have any questions on this? Because if you don't, I do have a question for you. I have a question. And you got to solve this problem. Okay. A parcel of land is described as the west half of the southeast 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of section 12 contains how many acres? Why don't you try to solve that one and see how well you do? Good question. How many square feet in an acre? I'm going to tell you in a moment, in just one moment. A parcel of land described as the west half of the southeast quarter of the southeast quarter of the southeast quarter. Section 12 contains how many acres? I want all of you to try this. It's like figuring out a puzzle. You don't have to draw it out, just write it out, figure it out. Let me show it to you. I'm going to write it out and show it to you. So I'm going to write this whole thing out. The west half, the southeast 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of section 12. Section 12 contains 640 acres. You always start off with the section, you write it out, work your way backwards. 4 divided into 640 equals 160. 4 divided into 160 equals 40. 4 divided into 40 equals 10. 2 divided into 10 equals 5. So it's 5 acres. Most of you got it right. Very good. But let me go back to this problem to solve this particular problem here. So we wound up with 2.5 acres. So here's something else you need to know. And this is a number you cannot forget. You cannot forget this number. 1 acre equals 43,560 square feet. 1 acre contains 43,560 square feet. Cannot forget that number. I got a little trick to help you remember. I want you to think of the numbers 7, 11, 7, 11. 4 and 3 is 7, 5 and 6 is 11. Don't forget to add the 0. So what I have to do right now, multiply 43,560 by 2.5 acres, which gives me 108,900 square feet. Now, this particular property cost $3 per square foot. Times $3 gives me $326,700. I multiply that by 7%, which is the commission, and it comes out to 22,000. I think 22,869. I think is the correct answer. You see, they go from one problem to another. Now, this particular legal description, you're going to see something very similar to this one. And as let me just read it over. I know I just want to recap. The north half of the south half of the northwest quarter, the southwest quarter, the northeast quarter of section 22. Sold for $3 per square foot. The commission was 7%. How much did the sponsoring broker earn? So we always start off with the section number of 640 acres divided by 4 gave me 60. Take 160, 160 divided by 4 gives me 40. 40 divided by 4 gives me 10. 2 divided to 10 equals 5 acres. And then half of 5 acres equals 2.5 acres. So 1 acre, remember, 43,560 square feet. Can't forget that number because you definitely will see it. Times 2.5 acres equals 108,900 square feet at $3 per square foot. Sale price was 326,700. 7% commission. The sponsoring broker earned 22,869. So this is something similar that a lot of you will see. Actually, you had a couple of these in the back of the chapter. Now, I also gave you, the last thing I did was this one, a parcel of land is described as the west half of the southeast quarter of the southeast quarter of the southeast quarter, contains how many acres? Remember, you write it out. You start off with the section number 640 and divide by 4 or 2, whatever it says, to get to the answer. Now, doing that, I have to do one more. I'm going to do one more that's kind of similar, a little bit different. I got to draw it out, so I got to make it up. Just bear with me. Till I figure this one out. Because I'm going to give you one other problem that you're going to see besides one of these. So I should have done this before, but I'm not talking. I'm talking, but I'm trying to figure out something. Northeast, east, southeast, northwest, southwest. Okay. I got one more problem for you. Let me get to one of my canvases. Here's another problem. And I will actually draw this out for you, so you need it. Okay. a parcel of land is described as the east half, so I want you to write this all down, east half of the northeast 1/4 of the southwest 1/4, and this is the difference here, the word and, the southwest 1/4 of the northwest 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of section 9 contains how many acres? Now, again, you write this out the way it is, and you always start from the bottom. So I'm going to write this problem out. I'm going to show it to you. And actually, I'm going to draw it too. Not that I need to or you need to, but sometimes having a visual does help. So you're going to see a problem just like this. So I take the east half of the northeast 1/4 of the southwest 1/4. Then I have the word and. The southwest 1/4 of the northwest 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of section 9. Now, this one's a little bit different because we have the word and. And so when I get to the word and, I always start off with the section number on the bottom. So I get to the word and, I stop, keep what I found, go back to section 9, and then continue. So let me just check my questions before I solve this problem for you. Oh, you're new to the class, Latricia. Okay. We are on chapter 4. I already started chapter 4 last Wednesday, but that's okay. It'll be covered again. But welcome, Latricia, for being at the class, okay? And Charles, that's okay, long as you're here. That's fine. So we're doing legal descriptions, and I already started this with the class, so they'll be able to follow it. But Latricia, don't worry about it. We'll cover it again and start all over when we get back to that section. So let me show you what it's going to look like. So section 9, remember, every section contains 640 acres. It's 1 mile by 1 mile. Oops. So this is section 9. Okay, I got section 9 done. Now, what I want, this is southeast quarter. Remember, what I do is I quarter this first. I always put my compass points. And what I want is the southwest quarter, which is this one here, which means I don't want these. There's going to be some erasing on this, but that's okay. So I got the southwest quarter. That's done. My next step, because I eliminated all of these X's, those parts are eliminated. I want what's left over, which is here, the northwest 1/4. So I'm going to quarter this again. Draw my compass points. I want the northwest. Wait a second. This is going to work out. You know what? I messed up. You know what? I messed up. I'm teaching this thing and I messed up. I did the wrong section and no one said anything to me. I messed up again. All right, let me do this all over again. I have to write this over again. Okay. A parcel of land. I knew it didn't look right. Of land is described oh, check undo. I don't even know where undo is. Hold on 1 second. Nope, it didn't come back. No, that did not work. Don't worry, I just do it real quick. It's described as the east half of the northeast 1/4 of the southwest 1/4 and forget the word and that's what a lot of people do forget, the southwest 1/4 of the northwest 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of section 9. Contains how many acres? So again, I write this out. The east half of the northeast 1/4 of the southwest 1/4 and the southwest 1/4 of the northwest 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of section 9. So again, so let me draw this out for you here first. As I said, we're going to be doing some erasing on this. So this is section 9. So I got section 9 done. Out of section 9, I want the southeast quarter. So I'm going to quarter this. Just got mixed up on my directions. I says I always draw my directions so I know exactly where I'm at, but I did not read them correctly. So I want the southeast quarter, which is this one right here, which I don't want these 3 here. So that part's done. So I'm only left with this one southeast 1/4. My next step, what's left over, is I want the northwest quarter of this. So I'm going to quarter this. And the north, draw my compass points. I still do that. Northwest quarter is here, which means I don't want these. That part's done. What's left over here? Now I want the southwest 1/4. So I'm going to quarter this again. Draw my compass points. Southwest is going to be the bottom left. I don't want these. Now I get to the word and, so I stop. I'm going to keep what I found. So I'm going to fill this in. This is what I want right here. This area here. And then I'm going to erase everything else and start all over with section 9. I'm just keeping what I found. So I'll get my eraser. Okay. So I'm keeping that one little part I found. I'm going to erase everything else. So I'm back to section 9. Oops, let me erase a little bit too much. Make this better. Okay, so now I'm going to continue. So I again start off with 640 acres, which I'm back to section 9. Now I'm at this point here. I want the southwest 1/4. So I am going to quarter this. Southwest is here, which means I don't want these. So that part's done. What's left over when I got this southwest 1/4 here? Now I want the northeast quarter of this. So I'm going to quarter this again. Draw my compass points. And I want the northwest, which is this one here. I don't want these. Now, what's left over, I want the east half. So I had to split this in half. If I split it in half this way, I have a west half, I have an east half. I don't want the west, I want the east. Now I'm done. I'm going to fill this one in. And I'm going to merge the two properties together. So this is what my property will look like. Kind of like a funny L-shaped type property. Now, I had to figure out exactly how many acres this happens to be. I don't know if any of you could figure that out, but I'm going to show it to you. So I'm going to erase off my check marks. And I think I got a couple of people trying to get the answer. I'm going to see if you're correct. It's just like putting together a puzzle. Very good, Brian. It is. You are correct. I'm turning you into a land surveyor. By the time I get done with this course, I'm going to turn you into a land surveyor, a mortgage guy, an appraiser, a mathematician. I don't even know what else I'm going to do. So, okay, so let me show it to the rest of you. Section 9. Every section has 640 acres. And what I did is I took a quarter of that. 4 divided into 640 equals 160. Then I took a fourth of that. 4 divided into 160 equals 40. And then 4 divided into 40 equals 10. Now I get to the word and. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to keep what I found, which is 10 acres right here. Go back to section 9, which has 640 acres, because every section does have 640. Yes, Alberto, you got that correct too. 4 divided into 640 equals 160. 4 divided into 160 equals 40. 2 divided into 40 equals 20. So, and I stop. It's 20 and 10 acres equals 30 acres. It's kind of, I'm sure it feels good that when you can get this. I mean, you look at this and wondering what the hell's going on, but actually you're going to see some of this. This is exactly what you will see. So, very good. A couple of you got this. Jamie, you got it. Alberto, Brian, you got the correct answer. Very good. Does anyone have any question on this before I move on? You're going to see both these problems. Actually, you're on the back of the chapter 10. I don't know if 10, chapter 4. I'm sorry, chapter 4. So I'd like you to try these out because you're going to see questions like that. And don't worry, when I do the review, I'm going to cover this again for you. Now, let's get back to our text. In the meantime, if anyone does have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions anyone might have. Now, let's go on to just something about sections and features of a township. I'm sorry. Each township contains 36 sections. It's each section is 1 mile by 1 mile, 1 mile square, or 640 acres. So let me go back to something here. Let me go back to my handout that I had for you last week. Now, remember I gave you this handout. Let me go to the next page. I want to make this one a little bit bigger too. Let's go to, there we go. That's better. Right here, this is a section. Remember how I told you the numbering system? It's a snake-like numbering system. Number 1's always in the northeast corner. 36 is in the southeast corner. And I showed you how to figure out the numbers. I don't remember if I told you. You see section 16 is shaded here, and there's a reason for it. Section 16, and this system is used in 30 different states. Section 16 is always reserved as a school district. Not the entire 1 mile by 1 mile area, but a portion of that section 16 is reserved as a school district. Can I get a handout because I wasn't able to make it Wednesday? Oh, that was a bad class to miss. Barasha, I tell you what, I didn't have a handout. If you want to take a screenshot, I'll go back to the first page, okay? Let me do that first. Take a screenshot of this. I just downloaded it. And this one shows that we use 3 principal meridians here in Illinois. Illinois is always referenced by the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th principal meridian. 2nd principal meridian is located in the center of Indiana, just covers a small portion of Illinois along the Illinois-Indiana border just south of Kankakee. That's that lightly shaded area. The white part of Illinois is covered by the 3rd principal meridian, which runs from Cairo on the south to just past Rockford on the north. And the 4th principal meridian covers the northwestern part of Illinois, primarily between the Illinois and the Mississippi River. Now, let me go back to the second page here. And I'm talking about this. So, as I said, a portion of section 16 is always reserved as a school district. See, in the Chicagoland area, Main Township High School happens to be located in section 16 of Main Township. Evanston Township High School happens to be located in section 16 of Evanston Township. In Chicago, Lakeview High School happens to be located in section 16 of Lakeview Township. Now, Chicago has about 5 full townships and probably about 5 partial townships. But we have more than 5 schools, but I guarantee in section 16 throughout this entire country, in the 30 states or more that they use it, exactly 30 states that they use this in, there's always a portion of section 16 federal law says cannot be sold, has to be reserved as a school district. One thing that was important for the pioneers going west was this first person they look for is the land surveyor. Why they want to find out where section 16 was? Because that's where they want to set up their homestead in section 16. And then what they do is that if the area became populated, that's where the school would be built. Now, you could go out west in Arizona, Nevada, and you could go buy millions and millions and millions of acres of land. I guarantee a portion of 16 can never be sold. It has to be reserved as a school district. So that's what I wanted you to know. go back to my text. Now, correction lines. You can highlight that one. I want you to be aware of it. Occasionally, some of you are going to see this. The problem with our planet Earth is that it's not flat and it's not square. A township is 6 miles by 6 miles. They try to keep these townships as perfectly square to 36 square miles. And because of the curvature of the Earth, the closer you get to the equator, they're going to be more than 36 square miles. So every 24 miles, or comes out to every 4 townships, we have a correction line. We have a correction line to make up for the curvature of the Earth. Now, I could give you an example of where you see correction lines, because Chicago is a big city, and we have correction lines in the city. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the northwest part of the city of Chicago, where Chicago and Norridge meets on Harlem Avenue. So some of you might know that, but if you're going, well, let me just draw this out for you because it's kind of interesting. If you are driving west on, let's say Foster Avenue, going west to Harlem, when you hit Harlem Avenue, Foster does not end. It jogs about 100 feet and then continues going west. So does Lawrence, Gunnison, Wilson, Montrose, Agatite. They all jog, continue going west. That is done on purpose because that is a correction line. Same thing with if you're driving down Pulaski Avenue from the north, and if you're coming up Pulaski Avenue from the south, right at North Avenue, it kind of jogs a little bit. But not only does Pulaski, so does Central, Narragansett, Oak Park, and all the side streets do that too. Those are correction lines. That is done on purpose to try to make sure that these townships are perfectly square to 36 miles square. That's why they do that. So remember, every 24 miles, we have a correction line. Now, let's go on to, we already did the reading of it. We did a meets and bounds. Now we're going to talk about the lot and block system. I want you to highlight, put an X where it says lot and block system. Now, the third method used in the state of Illinois and the United States is called the lot and block system, or recorded plat map system. Here's what happens. When someone wants to build a new subdivision, they take up the land, they divide them up into individual blocks, then they letter the blocks, and then they take up the blocks and they divide them up into smaller home sites, and then they number the home sites, they submit them to the city or the village to get approval to build that new subdivision. What does a plat map look like? I'll show you right now. So going back to the handout I downloaded, this is called a plat map. You see, they divide up the land into different blocks, and then they letter the blocks here. Block A, up here is block B. Then they take the blocks and they divide them up into different home sites, and then they number the different home sites. And then they submit them into the village or city. Now, residential property is always going to be valued based on square footage. Length times width equals the area. Whereas commercial property is always going to be valued based on front footage, whatever faces the main street. Because the more frontage they have on a main street, the more exposure they could get for their signage and displays in the store and exposed to foot traffic and car traffic. That's why a corner location, a busy corner location, the value of the land is so much more because you gain double exposure there. So you take a corner like Irving Park and Western, very, very busy intersection. To buy a lot on that corner, it costs a fortune because all the exposure they have to traffic. Okay. So commercial is valued for both rental and purchase based on front footage, whereas residential is based on square footage. Length times width equals the square footage. Now, see this Illinois Plat Act. I want you to highlight and I want you to put an X by that. The Illinois Plat Act. Are you going to see this on a state exam? 100% guaranteed you'll see this on a state exam. You take the state exam 1,000 times, this question will be on there. So the Illinois Plat Act states, and I think I told you already, put an X by it. Whenever a parcel of land is divided into 2 or more sections, any of them that's less than 5 acres must be recorded under the Illinois Plat Act. Again, whenever a parcel of land is divided into 2 or more sections, any of them that is less than 5 acres, that portion would have to be recorded under the Illinois Plat Act. So let me give you a couple of sample questions that you will see. And I'm going to ask you to answer these, okay? I need you to answer these. I already know the answer. I have to make sure you know the answer. So if I ask a question, I expect you to know it. Or at least try, not know it, at least try, okay? I have 100 acres of land. I divide into 2 sections. One of them is 80 acres, the other is 20 acres. Which parcel needs to be recorded? I have 100 acres of land divided into 2 sections. One of them is 80 acres, the other is 20 acres. Which ones need to be recorded? And mixed answers. So I have 100 acres of land. One is divided into 2 sections. One contains 80 acres. The other contains 20 acres. Which ones need to be recorded? The answer is neither one of them. Neither one of them. So let's go back to the Illinois Plat Act. Let me tell you. It says here, under the Illinois Plat Act, when an owner divides a parcel of land into 2 or more parts, any of them that's less than 5 acres, then they would have to be surveyed and recorded. Less than 5 acres. None of these are less than, I said 20 acres and 80 acres, so none of them have to be. Okay. What's the point of the Plat Act? The point of the Plat Act is density. They don't want someone taking less than 5 acres, like 1 acre or 2 acres, 3 acres, 4 acres, and building so many buildings there that it's so dense you can't find parking or anything else like that. That's why. That's the point of the act. I'm not done. I got a couple more questions for all of you. Next question. I have 100 acres of land. I divided it into 3 sections. 90 acres, 7 acres, 3 acres. Which ones now need to be recorded? I took 100 acres of land. I divided into 3 different sections. 90 acres, 7 acres, 3 acres. Which ones need to be recorded now under the Illinois Plat Act? I'm giving you state exam questions. So I expect all of you at least to try these things. Don't worry about mistakes. You make a mistake, this is where you're going to learn from your mistakes. I'd rather you make the mistake right here in front of me than you make them on a state exam, because I'm giving you word for word questions. So again, I'm going to repeat it, and I expect everyone to answer this. I already know the answer. I got to make sure you know the answer. I have 100 acres of land divided into 3 sections. One of them contains 90 acres, the other contains 7 acres. The other one contains 3 acres. Which ones need to be recorded under the Illinois Plat Act? Good. I think everyone got it correct, and that's what I wanted to see. So, okay, Jamie Chance, yeah, you changed your answer. 3. The answer is 3. Very good. I got one more question for you. These are all questions that you see on the state. So let me just give you one more question. I have 20 acres of land, 20 acres. I divide it into 5 equal sections. Which ones now need to be recorded? I have 20 acres of land divided into 5 equal sections. Which ones need to be recorded and why? "20 acres of land divided into 5 equal sections." Very good. Guys are getting this. Good. I'm glad. I just got to make sure all of you are understanding everything I'm talking about. The answer is all of them. Why? 20 acres divided by 5 is 4 acres each. Anything less than 5 acres must be recorded. That's why they all need to be recorded. Anything less than 5. Because they're all 4 acres each. Very good. Anything less than 5 acres, yes. Very good. Now, let's get back to our text so you understand that. I just have to be sure that you do understand it. Now, let's talk about elevations on this next page here. It says here, and you can highlight, put an X by these next 3 paragraphs here. Elevations. Just as surface rights must be identified, surveyed, and described, so must be the rights of property above the Earth's surface. Elevations are measured to determine the height or to determine the legal description of air rights, like in a condominium apartment building. I told you, when you own a condo, what you own is from the paint on one wall to the paint on the other wall, from the floor to the ceiling. You get a deed that describes the airspace. Now let's skip down to where it says a datum. I want you to highlight, put an X by that one. A datum is a point, line, or surface for which elevations are measured. A datum is used to measure the height of a building. A datum is used to measure the grade of a street. A datum is used to measure the airspace that you own in a condo. Now, what a datum is, it's a brass plate. It's probably about 8 inches in diameter. It's set in concrete. They have them all over the United States. I saw them downtown. I remember seeing them several times downtown. They tell you exactly how many feet above sea level we're at. And it's often used to describe the airspace, but also used for surface measurements. So if a land surveyor is trying to measure property, they don't have to go to the middle of the state of Illinois and start measuring from the third principal meridian to locate the land in Chicago. They use these datums that they look up in a reference book. Now, that line after that paragraph, that one line, the general datum plane used by Illinois surveyors is called USGS. The general datum plane used by Illinois surveyors, occasionally, some of you will see that, so put an X by it. It's called USGS. Now, let me go over some land measurements for you, okay? Occasionally, you might get this. Some of you might see this. A mile contains 5,280 linear feet. A half a mile is 2,640. Occasionally, you might see this. This next one, a square mile, put an X by that one, contains 640 acres. Put an X by the next one. 1 acre equals 43,560 square feet. Remember 7-Eleven? 4 and 3 is 7, 5 and 6 is 11, 43,560 square feet. Now, a yard is 3 feet long. A square yard is 3 feet by 3 feet. I'm going to give you, let me explain something. Then I'm going to give you a question on a state exam that every single one of you will see this one particular question. So, first of all, a yard is 3 feet long. This is a yard. 1, 2, 3 feet. A square yard is 3 feet by 3 feet. Contains, sorry, I can't draw too straight with this damn board. Contains 9 square feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 square feet. So, now let me give you a problem. This particular problem, almost word for word on a state exam. See, there are certain math problems that you see on every state exam. And I say the last 20 times I took the state exam, I saw this particular question 20 times, okay? Here's the question. An owner of a house wants to carpet 3 rooms. Make that 2, sorry. 2 rooms. I want to do exactly what the state exam does. Each room measures 25 feet by 35 feet. The cost of the carpeting is $22 per square yard. Question is, how much did the carpeting cost? So I'm going to show you how to solve this problem. The reason why this one shows up every single time on the state exam, I would say it is wrong more than 97 or 98% of the time. It is wrong. It's very, very tricky question. So I'll show you how to solve it. So each room that this guy wants to carpet measures 25 feet by 35 feet. 25 times 35 feet will give me 875 square feet. Times 2 rooms. That's where a lot of people make a mistake. Times 2 rooms, which equals 1,750 square feet. Now the carpeting costs $22 a yard. Now I need to convert this into square yards. This is another mistake. A lot of people take 1,750, they divide it by 3. That's going to be wrong. I mean, if you went that way, you will have an answer, but it's going to be wrong. You need to divide this by 9. There's 9 square feet. A square yard is 3 feet by 3 feet. 3 times 3 is 9. So 1,750 divided by square feet, that's going to equal 194.44 square yards times $22 a square yard. The carpeting cost, I think it came out to $42.77. And that's the answer. I'm telling you this, you do anything else, it's going to be wrong. And that's why they always show this on the state exam. Yeah, 42.77, very good. So, yeah, carpeting is sold in square yards. Well, I just kind of, I'm pretty sure this is exactly what the problem is. Could be slightly off, but I'm pretty sure. So I just want you to know that. Now, just be careful. This question I want you to memorize. So let me go back to the textbook again. You will see this, all of you. Now, a cubic yard. Occasionally, you might get this. I have a question. What's the practical application of these questions? Are we expected to give on-the-spot calculations? Yes, you are. Now, I'm going to do a whole session on a math review for all of you. But see, I like you to write down these problems, these math problems I give you. And if you're struggling with math, that's why I kind of show the math in a very basic way, because a lot of people do struggle with math. And since you have 13 math problems on the state exam, you got to know math. It's almost 10% of the exam. So, oh, I'm not done. You see what I'm going to give you in a few minutes from now. But if you're struggling with the math, you have this math problem. I don't want you to read this over and over and over again. That's not how you're going to learn. You use your calculator where it tells you to multiply, divide, whatever it tells you to do. Now, you don't get it the first time. You do it a second time. You don't understand the second time. By the third or fourth time, by using your calculator, you will understand the problem. And then when you see it on the state exam, you will be able to solve it. We're not done. Wait, in a very short period of time, we're going to do algebra. We got algebra to do. No, I'm sorry, not algebra. Geometry. We're going to do geometry. Now, cubic yard. Occasionally, you're going to see this. A cubic yard, consider it a box that's 3 feet long, 3 feet deep, 3 feet wide. 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Contains 27 cubic feet. A square foot, you can forget about that one. I never, ever saw that on the state exam. Someone has a question. Oh, yeah, sure. Let me, oh, I need to go back to my Canvas. Oh, wait, there, I was just there. Okay, you can copy down this problem. I'll give you a moment, or screenshot. Take your time, Lizette. I just want to make sure you have it. Are you okay? You need any more time? Okay. Okay. All right, you got it. All right, so let me go back, finish up this particular chapter. So forget about a square foot. A township, put an X by that one. A township is 36 square miles, is 6 miles square. 6 times 6 comes out to 36 square miles. A section is 1 mile square, contains 640 acres. Now I just thought of another problem I want to give you. Let me go to my Canvas here. I got another problem. So This is a section right here. A section is 1 mile by 1 mile. Contains 640 acres. So, my question to you, if 1 mile by 1 mile equals 640 acres, then the question to you, a half a mile by a half a mile equals how many acres? Why don't all of you answer this question? Why are you going to see this on a state exam? So if 1 mile by 1 mile is 640 acres, then a half mile by half mile is how many acres? Every one of you answer this question. Very good. I see everyone doing it. So a 1 mile by 1 mile contains 640 acres. Then a half mile by half mile contains how many acres? Let's see what you have. Okay, I see that almost everybody put down 320 acres. And I had one person, Alberto, who put down 160 acres. The answer is 160 acres. The very first answer you see on a state exam is 320. It's wrong. This question is wrong about 99% of the time. That's why it always shows up. You want me to show it to you? Why it's wrong? I'm going to show it to you 2 different ways. Now, first of all, this is a section, 1 mile by 1 mile, which contains 640 acres. Now, from here to here is a half mile. And from here to here is another half mile, which only gives me 1/4 of a section, which is 160 acres. Let's do this mathematically. Let's do fractions. Remember a long time ago? Probably about 4th grade, we had to do fractions. So let's do fractions. 1/2 times 1/2 equals 1/4. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 640 divided by 4 is 160. I'm telling you, 99% of people get this problem wrong. First answer you see is 320. I mean, I know, I see it all the time. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Okay, I didn't know you had a degree, Alberto. You're right, you got to deal with fractions all the time. And actually, Alberto, you're the only one that got this question correct. But at least you tried. As I said to all of you out there, I'd rather see you make the mistake here in front of me and you see your mistake, because I'm telling you, you're not going to make this mistake on a state exam. Maybe you will. We'll find out. Let me ask you another question. 1/8 of a mile by 1/8 of a mile equals how many acres? Go ahead and figure that one out. If 1 mile by 1 mile equals 640 acres, then 1/8 of a mile by 1/8 of a mile equals how many acres? So I'm going to give you 3 state exam questions like this. All of you should see one of them. People keep changing their minds. I want everyone to try to answer these things. Okay. And of all of you that answered, Sal changed his answer. Okay. Alberto, that engineer got right. And Brian, good for you. The answer is this. I'll give it to you. 10 acres. Let me show it to you. Down here, 1/8 of a mile by 1/8 of a mile equals 1/64. Again, 1 times 1 is 1. 8 times 8 is 64. 640 divided by 64 equals 10. Now, let's do one more. Since I'm having so much fun. One more. 1/4 of a mile by 1/4 of a mile equals how many acres? Go ahead and answer that one. And for some reason, I'm not getting everyone to answer these questions. I really want everyone to, when I ask a question, I want all of you to at least try. I don't care you make a mistake. It doesn't matter. You make a mistake. And almost everybody got it right. You know why? Now you know. That's why I do this. I practice with you. You change your mind, Brian. Okay. The answer is 40. That's why I do these exercises with you, because I'm telling you the answer is 40 acres. And what I'm telling you is that you will see this on a state exam. You're going to see one of these three, not all three of them. You're going to see one of these three. See, 1/4 of a mile by 1/4 of a mile equals 1/16. 4 times 4 is 16. 640 divided by 16 is 40. Okay? That's what I need. That's why I like you to do these problems. That's why I like you at least attempt. Because if you try to solve these problems, yeah, okay. If you, I got it, Brian. If you try to solve these problems, it's okay to make a mistake, but that's how you're going to learn. That's why I keep doing this. So that's why I got a high pass rate too. I work you like a sled dog. Now, let me see if no, I'm not quite done. I am going to give you another problem. This particular problem I'm going to give you, you're going to get one of these problems. I'm going to give you two versions of it. So let me clear this or get it to another canvas. You know what, Latricia, that what you're saying, that you love it because you're understanding. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to make sure that all of you do understand. And if you have a good feeling when you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, by the way, I'll tell you this. I don't know if any of you have any children at home, and I'm talking about children that are like 11, 12 years old, they're in 5th or 6th grade. If you show them any of these math problems, I'm telling you, your children know how to solve them. Just make sure if they're your children, don't tell them that you can't. But if you show them these problems, they can solve them. This is what they're doing in school right now. So, and it feels good to solve these things. Now, here's another problem. This is probably going to be the toughest problem you will see. I bet Jamie, I bet your son knew how to do this. Yeah, honors math, absolutely. See if I bet he could solve this very next problem. A lot of us are not good in math. Remember what I said on the first day of class? That all of us, the first thing happens when we not retire, when we leave school, that part of our brain that studied math went into retirement. So I'm going to kind of dig deep into your brain and dig it out a little bit. So a lot of people struggle with math. That's why when I do the math problems, I try to show it very basic. When people say, Sam, there's a shortcut, I know all the shortcuts, but not everybody's at the same level. So here's another problem I'm going to give you. This is a piece of farmland. This is the shape of the farmland. This is the shape of the farmland. It's 800 feet from here to here. It's 200 feet from here to here. It's another 200 feet from here to here. It's 1,500 feet from here to here. It's 2,100 feet. This is 2,100 feet from here to here. Now, the question is, this farmer needs to go out and buy some seed to plant his crops. And he needs to know how many square feet of land. Actually, the question is, how many square feet of tillable land does he have? Now, there are two things you need to know. The formula for a square or rectangle, length times width equals the area. The other formula you need to know is the formula for a triangle. The formula for a triangle, half the base times the height equals the area. Now, this is the parcel of land. I am going to show you, oh wait, I forgot something. What we have here is a 2.5 acre swamp. The question is, how many square feet of tillable land do I have here? Now, first thing you have to do is break this down into sections. So let's take, it doesn't matter how you do it. I'm just going to do it, it doesn't matter how I do it, but I just want you to get the idea. So let's take this one right here. and I'm just making, I'm going to go this way. It doesn't matter how I do it. I'm going to call this section A. Then I'm going to take this part here, I'm going to call this one section B. And then, different color, let's see, okay. I'm going to make this little triangle part section C. So, section A, you see it's 200 feet up here by 800 feet. So section A, let me put it right here. Section A, length times width, 800 feet by 200 feet equals 160,000 square feet. And if anyone has any questions as I'm doing this, I'm here to help you. Section B is going to be 1,500 feet by 600 feet. And where did I get to 600? There's no 600 in here. See, it's 800 feet from here to here, but it's 200 feet from here to here. So this has to be, this area here has to be 600 feet. You follow me on that one? Which will give me 900,000 square feet. Now, section C, the triangle, well, again, here's a formula for a triangle. Half the base times the height. Now, if this is 600 feet from this X point up here to down here, 600 feet, I got that from this being 800 minus 200, so this is 600, which means the triangle here from here, that X to here, the base, is also 600 feet. Half of 600 feet times the height, which is 400 feet. How do I get to 400 feet? Well, this is 2,100 feet from the X over here, you see it, to the apex of the triangle, to over here. That's 2,100 feet, so 2,100 feet. This A section here is 200 feet. You see this where I'm marking this on an angle? That's 200 feet. Minus the 200 will leave me 1,900 feet. This part here, the B bottom part, is 1,500 feet. Where'd I get that? I got that from here, up here, 1,500 feet. Minus the 1,500 feet, that means this part here, from here to here, has to be 400 feet. So half the base, half of 600 is 300 times 400. So C is 300 feet by 400 feet, which equals 120 square feet. Now, I'm not done, but before I go any further, there's anyone that's not with me 100%. I'd be happy to go over this whole thing again if anyone is not 100% clear on this one, because I want to make sure that you are. Okay, that's okay, Lizette. That's okay. I'm here to help you and anyone else. So let me do this all over again. Is it the whole thing? I'll do the whole thing, or is there a certain part? All right, I'm going to do the whole thing. That's okay. Listen, there's nothing to be sorry about. This is what I'm here for. You're not 100% sure, I'll make sure that you are. That's what this whole thing's about. So let's start off with section A. Now, section A, oops, well, I think we understand that. It's 200 feet, which I got from up here, 200 feet by 800 feet. So 800 times 200 equals 160 square feet. That's section A. Section B is 1,500 going from here by 600 feet. How did I get to 600 feet? Well, it's 800 feet. You see that from, I'm going to draw on the far right-hand side. It's 800 feet from here to here. But it's 200 feet, this portion, which is on the right over here, a little bit to the right. I have 200 feet. I'm circling this part here. So if I minus the 200 right here, that means this has to be 600 feet, if you follow me on that. So 1,500 by 600 is 900 square feet. Now we get to the triangle. Now we got 600 feet from, let me see, I think, let me get an arrow here. I think that would help. Okay. I got 600 feet. You see this arrow right here going down here is 600 feet, right? So if that's 600 feet, then let me get rid of my screen here. I did this before and I had a problem with it. Let me clear this for a second. Okay. Nope, I didn't clear it. 1 second. I always have a problem with this when I try to do this. Did I get it this time? Nope. I hate going through this arrow because I gotta move this out of here. Give me 1 second. I always have trouble with this thing. Nope, still didn't get it. I should have used a highlighter. I didn't do it either. Okay. See if I could get rid of this thing. Let me get rid of me, and what I'm trying to do is get rid of my picture here. Okay. Now, see my little pen here. So if this is 6 feet from here to here, 600 feet, I'm sorry, by 1,500 feet, then this part C on this right-hand side at the base of the triangle, where I have my little pen, is also 600 feet. Now, so half of 600 by 400. Okay, where'd I get to 400? Let me get to a highlighter. Now, I'm using my highlighter. I'm on the bottom line. It's 200 feet from here to here. So 2,100 minus 200 is 1,900 square feet. Then from this point, I'm talking about section B, is another 1,500 feet. I'm going to highlight this. All the way to this point, it's another 1,500 feet, which leaves me 400 feet. So which means from the base of the triangle here to the apex is going to be another 400 feet. So half the base of 300 times 400, half of 600 is 300 times 400 will give me 120,000 square feet. So let's I want to make sure you understand that. Yeah, and that's how you got the answer to it. Now, is there anyone not clear on this before I go on? Because I'm not done with the problem. We're almost done. Well, if I total all this up, what I get is 1,180,000 square feet. Okay, Lizette, did you understand what I did now? And if anybody else not sure of it. Okay, good. That's all I want to be sure of. Now, that's not my answer. Why? Because I got this 2.5 acre swamp right here. So remember, 1 acre, I'm writing it up on the top, equals 43,560 square feet times 2.5 acre swamp, which is my swamp, which you can't plant crops in a swamp, will give me 108,900 square feet. So I come back to this minus minus my swamp of 108,900. What I have left of tillable land space is 1,071,100 square feet. Now, I just want to tell you, all these math problems I was doing today, and from the beginning, from chapter 1, see, I put together all these exact same problems. It's in your appendix A of your textbook. It's also, I cover these in the videos. They're all covered in the videos as well. So if you want to review this, I give you the problem in the appendix A, this exact same problem. I give you 4 choices, but I tell you step by step how to solve it. But watch the video too, because I do that, which is what I did now. I just explained it again. All the math problems. I put together 22 math problems. Even the part I put together, 1/2 of a mile by 1/2 a mile equals 160 acres. I also have that in there as well. So, and I'm going to do another review of this for you on the last day. That's what we spend the review on. So this will be probably your toughest problem you will see. That is the end of chapter 4.